Like to have Andy Hamilton, Sammy Brown, Rachel. And
Alrighty, Rachel, are you ready?
Alan's Potter.
I am ready.
All right. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started. It's 10 o'clock. We do have a quorum of members present to commence business. So the agenda was sent out last week, and you had a chance to read that. Entertain a motion for either approval or any changes you'd like to make.
I'd move approval. Alan?
Hamilton second.
Okay. We have a motion second. Any further discussion?
There's a, looks like a typo on under number 9.
We're on the agenda, or are you looking at the minute for last week?
The minutes.
From us? Okay, we're just doing the agenda.
Agenda,
now.
sorry.
Of course, we'll get to that in a second. So anyway, alrighty, no further discussion. All in favor, say aye. The agenda is presented.
Aye.
Okay, also vote aye. That carries. Next up, we have the approval of the amendments from our last meeting on March 15th. So those were sent out last week as well. And Ruth, you have any?
I just noticed number 9A, 9B, it should say post.
Oh, yes.
Oh, did you catch that, Rachel? 9B should be Pulse Point.
Got it. I will update that.
Okay, other than that, does anybody have any questions or concerns on the minutes from last week or last month? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented. We have a motion by Ruth Kendall,
Second.
second by Jim Kelly. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, and that motion carries. And Rachel, are you able to see the room, and do we need to identify people present for you?
I can see the room just fine. I just can't hear that great. So if you can just keep saying who's doing the motions, that's wonderful.
Okay. We will do so. Next up, we have public comment. And is there anybody present in the room who'd like to make a comment, member of the public? I see none. See on the Zoom, we have Alan's Otter. Do we know who that is, or is that a member of the public who'd like to speak? Okay. I guess not. So we will move right along. Next up, we have payables. So Rachel, I'm going to go ahead and do you have anything to say about that? Any questions from the board concerning those as presented last week?
If there's no questions. There's just a couple invoices in there. One's for Motorola. It's a pretty large invoice. That is for our ECW, our first 50% for our phone upgrade. And then there's another one in there under diversification. And that one is for the furniture at the new center.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't remember what that was about, so thank you.
Okay. Is there any questions on those? Any of the payables Al presented?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Chief Kelly.
Second. Alan?
Okay, motion second. Is there any further discussion on the payables that presented for the amount of $689,018.32? Okay, hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Also vote aye, and that motion carries. Next up, we do have the financial report. It's the last page in the packet. And do you have any comments to make reference to that, Rachel?
Not too many comments. We do have most of our revenues are coming in higher than expected for our interest earnings and sales tax. It's looking like, at least from the first quarter, to come in around 3.3. And that's, I feel like, a pretty low guess considering the second half of the year it comes in higher than the first half. And then the only other thing is in our equipment fund, we only budgeted for a few small items. We didn't roll ECW into this budget, but the funds are there. So you'll see an overspent category in equipment next month.
Okay. Are there any questions on the financial report? Okay, and that's not an action item. we will move along to the law tech and see, we have Brandon Poppins here. Are you the lead fire tech guy?
I am.
Since you're here at present, we're graced with your presence, so we'll go ahead and,
We had meeting, that was last Tuesday, I believe. We just kind of chit chatted amongst ourselves there. Unfortunately, there was nobody available from the comm center. They were out of town on training and such, so we talked about just, and we're just kind of watching at this point, but we've noticed an uptick in a lot of our respond and stage type stuff for when law enforcement's going out and handling a situation. And there's been a few cases where we've staged for, long periods of time where there's not necessarily known patients to go take care of. So just something we're keeping an eye on. That way we're not sitting for hours and hours on end, but nothing, we're not looking to take any action at this point, but just we all kind of noticed an uptick on that. So maybe it'll be a discussion point between us and maybe like a joint law fire tax sort of thing. But like I said, nothing major there. That was probably the highlight of the meeting. So.
okay, Troy Brightbill's on, we'll get to him in a minute. We have need to have a joint discussion.
We might.
Get together and discuss it. Is there any update on the Pulse Point and where that is at?
I don't have one. I know I'm involved in the group as far as the planning goes. I know Eric's been sending out emails. We're, I think, right in the middle of the process as far as getting it implemented. I think there's a meeting next week that I was invited to. I can't remember what exactly that topic point is, but it's kind of right in the middle of the planning phase from what I understand. So.
Okay, and I see Sammy is poised to jump in.
Yeah, Eric sent something out to all the fire chiefs, the timeline as to the onboarding of everything for Pulse Point, and now each agency is starting to identify all their automated external defibrillators, the locations, and starting to put in some data. And we're on schedule right now, and there's still a little bit more of the onboarding of data phase left to go, and then it'll go live according to the time schedule that Eric sent us.
Okay, great. Anything else, Brandon or Sammy, for fire or?
Nope.
Good, alrighty. I think Troy Brightbill was going to weigh in, but I don't see him up there. Alrighty, I don't think didn't have anything really to add anyway. I don't think we've had a meeting since our last one, so we'll just move right along to the user fee update.
For the user fee committee, we do have a meeting scheduled for next Thursday, a week from tomorrow, the 27th. We've made some good progress. I think after that meeting, we will probably have a draft formula to bring to the board to see what questions there are remaining, and hopefully get an approval well in advance of our 2024 budget, so that there are no surprises or questions. And it looks like we're kind of modifying the old formula that takes into account the calls for service, population, assessed values, etc. So there's a lot of legwork in it, but we're making progress on it, and hopefully we'll have some more solid information next week.
Okay, and when that meeting is?
Thursday, the 27th.
Okay. Sounds good. Anybody well to the core group, anybody else who wants to observe, probably are welcome to.
Certainly,
attend.
absolutely, yeah.
All right, well, good. All righty, well, we'll move along. John, you go ahead and jump into the director's report.
Okay, thank you. For staffing, we currently have 18 dispatchers assigned to the schedule. We have one that's on leave currently. We have one trainee that is progressing well. We have one trainee that just came out of training, was assigned this month. So moving along there, and we are actively looking to hire. We have 2 or 3 interviews set up.
2 currently working on the 3rd.
We have 2 interviews next week, on I believe Thursday, with folks that have already gone through the testing process and such. So hopefully we'll have some more in training soon. And then we have also 7 non-represented staff. As to climate and culture, last week was National Telecommunicator Week, Public Safety Telecommunicator Week. Of course, we did and when I say we, I mean Bree did it up really well for our dispatchers. treated them well. We appreciate the agencies. Many of you came in, showed up, brought them goodies and showed some appreciation. We're grateful to all of you for that. We felt like it was a good week and an opportunity to show what they do and to appreciate what they do. In that were our rewards or awards, not rewards, awards, sorry, for 2022. Misty Gibbs received the Dispatcher of the Year award as voted on by her peers, as well as Call Taker of the Year, answering more phone calls than everyone else. Bob Schaefer received an award for Trainer of the Year, and Samantha Perry received the Dedicated Dispatcher of the Year. So we've recognized those folks with a crystal type reward or award that they can have to remember this year. Also, as to climate and culture, our Facebook is up and running. We appreciate the approval on that, and Bree has been doing an outstanding job. We've made some posts. We've had a lot of good likes and things and a lot of shares on it. We would like to talk about that, about the comments. As we've gotten this going and we've got a little bit of feedback and we've looked deeper at what the other agencies around us are doing, both dispatch agencies and public safety agencies as a whole. We appear to be the only one that we can find that does not allow comments. And I know we talked about that last month, but some of the feedback we received is, why can't we add comments? Why can't we show the appreciation? Why can't we? And of course, we would always reserve the right to, anything that's inappropriate not have there. But we would ask, we're going to draft up the policy, an amendment to the policy that was approved to allow for comments to bring back to the board for final approval. But with everything going on this week and last week with the building, we didn't get to it this week. We would like to throw that out to the board. If that's something that, I guess, any questions anyone would have, we would like to go ahead and start having comments, and then we'll amend that policy and bring it to the board.
Can you selectively remove individual comments? Or
You can, but then you run up against issues of violating rights to free speech and whatnot. It's difficult. I mean, many of the agencies do it now, and we would get some of the as to the actual wording of the policy, we would ask for your help and what your agencies have in your policies regarding that. Yes, you can. Is it a good idea to? Probably not, unless it's something that's just entirely inappropriate legally.
Well, are you under the same auspices as the local government? I guess I would ask legal
We are.
to weigh in on this. There's only 7 different reasons you can remove a post. You gotta be careful about that because it's public record.
Right. Yeah, and
And
as
we
I
have
said, we would
retention
intend, we would intend not to just randomly remove posts that we find offensive or whatever. Yes, there are legal ramifications around that and knowing what we can and can't remove if that need arises.
And remove's probably the wrong word, it's partition, like hide, you still have to retain it.
Correct. Yes, sorry, yes, that's accurate.
And
So,
archive it and provide public records behind it. So I don't know if you have those technologies.
some of it's inherent with Facebook. I would have to research that more. I don't have the answer to that.
I don't know if Facebook, I'm a Facebook idiot, but I don't know if it's got the search mechanism if you get a public records request. I always like to defer questions about social media to attorneys because they love policies behind social media, but they're the ones that are gonna end up defending them.
Do you love those policies?
I just think it's something to be really careful about.
Oh,
If your
absolutely.
intention is just to post information, I guess that's one thing. Social media is meant to be a back and forth, but is it appropriate for a 911 authority? I don't know.
There are there are several throughout the state 911 authorities that do have Facebook. They post, they allow comments. Like it said, ours is the only one that I've seen that does not allow comments. And I know
And if-
initially in that
To
discussion
add,
about it.
you can't totally
turn off comments on Facebook. You can limit who can comment. So it's not a feature where you can just say, hey, I don't want to allow comments. It's okay, people, the only people that can comment are people that are tagged on this post, which we don't tag anybody and haven't had to tag anybody on this post. So that's not even an option Facebook allows. Upon research, as I've been using it, they don't allow you to just click a button to just not allow comments at all.
Right, yeah. Once you turn it on, it's there, and to Chief Kirk's point, you can hide them if necessary, but again, you take the bad with the good when you open it up like that. But all of the agencies here in Dallas County that have Facebook allow comments. Has anyone experienced any particular problems?
But it's largely positive, but there are some commenters and there, some will have like a fake like or something like some kind of video or something to go to, it's not as advertised. Brings you out to some.
Yeah.
Scam or something. Or I don't know, you guys have a different experience or you get comments.
I don't pay attention to the comments.
You
They're
don't?
not fun. I mean, there's,
Oh, some of
I
them.
would say I'm
absolutely are.
amazed at how many MDs we have on Facebook, how many experts in different fields.
Oh, yeah.
And you're going to, I think for me, thinking about this for you is the balance between getting information out there and the posts you're gonna get that will disseminate misinformation.
But I agree. But again, the intent and use for us of Facebook is to, one, share posts from agencies, and two, to celebrate our people. Even if we had like a road closure or a stay away or anything like that from a certain area, we would wait till either an agency or DEM had that, and then we would share that post. So we're not really creating any content that well, it would be controversial, but as we know, anything can become controversial. So that, I mean, that's our intended use of it. Celebrating our people is the only thing that's not things that we would be sharing, really. Is that pretty accurate, or yeah, sharing from other agencies. Is that accurate, Bree?
I mean, really, the point of social media is to engage with the community, and right now we're informing them, we aren't engaging. There's no opportunity to engage, which is why we have kind of brought this up now as we've used it for the last month or so. It's that and how it's being perceived, or is not that we are, but are they hiding something? They're not allowing it. So it's just those kinds of things that I've heard to where I'm like, oh shoot, I didn't even think of that when, you know, we implemented this. Although it was all good intentions and everything, it's just how that's perceived. And I mean, everybody perceives it in a different way, but we didn't predict that when we were doing this, because that's just not the way that we were thinking.
Comes to, we've had our Facebook page up for several years. And once in a great while, you get somebody that's negative about something, but it's very rare. And those usually, I mean, I look at it from my position as a fire commissioner. Some of those I will answer because I feel that's part of my job, to answer questions or clarify things or invite people to have further discussion about them. So I would doubt it would be a bad thing. I look at Crest's page periodically. They serve a much larger area, higher population, and I rarely ever see anything negative on that one at all, too. So,
But do you want to, you mentioned drafting a proposal, maybe look, if you want to look at other agencies.
Yeah,
policies and come
and-
back with it.
Exactly, yeah. The intention is to mirror what other agencies are currently doing, including 911 centers and our local agencies. We're not reinventing the wheel with an idea that's not already out there in other policies.
The one caution I would, and I support it. The one caution I would have is your employees, friends and family of employees will really have strong urges to defend themselves and each other on this public forum, and there needs to be strong language that prohibits that. You know, take the high road, dad humor, you know, all those things that you you do as a public entity on a social media site. And I think to your point, you know, the two problems you're solving with social media is engaging the public. You haven't had really an opportunity to do that, and then sharing pertinent information. And sometimes we've had people comment on a post, hey, the road's open now. Well, we'll go vet that, and then we might update our information. So I think there is an engagement piece that's gonna help you in some of those instances. So I don't think it's a bad thing. But I think the urge to defend yourself, your employees, and you know, that's gonna be one to manage.
Absolutely, I agree. Thank you for that. So we'll come up with a draft and bring it back to the board before we take any other action on it.
Okay, are you still on climate and culture? Do you have anything on that?
No, that was it for that part.
I was gonna ask you about you, Jules went to some training.
We did. Jules Martin, one of our dispatchers, and myself went to a training 2 weeks ago in Moses Lake, put on by a gentleman with a company called the Healthy Dispatchers about resiliency and dispatch and things. So we learned quite a bit. I'm doing a little more research on this gentleman. His name is Adam Timm, Timm. If anybody wants to look at it. I've got one of his books. I'm going to read it. Might be a valuable resource to one of his specialties is climate and culture consultations at the agency level. So we may look at bringing him in at some point. So really good training, great information, 2 days worth of learning how the psyche of the dispatcher works or doesn't work, as the case may be. So yeah, it was really good training.
And
Thank
then
you for that.
you get I know I gave you the information about the Cortico app that law enforcement, I think all of us have jumped in on anyway, and that's available to 911 too. You guys
Yes.
have that information to look at. as
We
well,
have,
so.
we have given them all of our information. We're all set up for it. I have it on my phone. Bree and I are going to have a meeting to create a plan to roll it out to our staff.
What's the Cortico? I'm not familiar with that.
It's a subdivision of what's the full
Oh,
policy
okay.
company, but it's an app and I mean, I see Robert's going to his phone, but it's an app that unless local resources, we have our peer support team, our chaplains and the county employee assistance program are there, and then also has state resources like various therapists, and then there's national resources, and there's little webinars on there for physical fitness, nutrition, financial management, substance abuse, a large number of topics where you can go in and there's resources. It's like online or webinars. There's also, like I said, therapists to back it up. And also, yeah, it's something this legislature funded for law enforcement, actually retirees, families, 911 jails.
And that, is that parade? Like, well, I guess I've not heard anything about
And
that.
WASPIC got, the state passed legislation that funded it, and WASPIC oversees it. And WASPIC isn't fire, so that's why you didn't see it. Yeah. A year or two ago, they came out and did their pitches to charge us all, and then the state got a hold of that, had them submit proposals, so it's free to us. You guys weren't.
Yeah.
So they can check on the fire side and legislature funded it.
That's what I was asking.
What I heard is they want your money. Okay, thank you for that, Sheriff. Move right along the facility update. We have a meeting this Friday in 2 days with Patriots owner and our architects. And this meeting is intended to be the where we come together and do what our architect is calling the horse training part. We intend to complete the certificate of substantial completion, which we intend to have it dated for this past Monday, the 17th. Patriot is intending to have it dated on the 10th. I'm not sure why that is, but we'll come to terms with all of that at this meeting on Friday. So we essentially, we're working on the final paperwork to make it all so, but we essentially have substantial completion now. Deanna cut loose her CRP team last week, and Tuesday we moved our piles equipment and cardboard boxes into a U-Haul truck and out of a U-Haul truck into the building, and they have been unboxing it, mounting it in racks, making it work. All the pretty lights are lighting up and all the connections are being made, and it's doing its things. To the point with the building now where we don't have porta potties anymore, using the facilities inside. We have the keys and we have given the contractor a key that they can use. But now we're responsible for that and have access control, all the video and everything else as well. So the facility is moving right along.
Do we have final occupancy now from sign off from building department and stuff?
We do not, we're still under the temporary certificate of occupancy. Yeah. The initial TCO expires this Friday. But Patriots already reached out to the city and they're going to extend it because there are 2 items that they have to wrap up before the final occupancy will be issued. So, yeah, so we're moving right along there. And well, I tell you, this relocation project team, Deanna's group, they've been there from 8 o'clock in the morning until sometimes 9 and 10 o'clock at night, setting up the technology and making it all happen. And they're really just flying through it. So
Don't worry, they're all salary.
yeah,
The occupancy, might occur sooner with that, if they get everything up and running.
even if they get everything up and running sooner, we will still plan our production go live date for July 24th, which is a Monday. If they get it done sooner than that, we may do some soft opening work in there as far as maybe have a dispatcher or 2 over there occasionally. Just to work the kinks and the bugs out, but our planned go live date is July 24th.
Yeah, hard to move that date. Unless we have to extend it, but hopefully we won't, only because we're coordinating with like the state for the EZNet and there's lots of people involved on that switchover. And the vendors.
So we're actually in really good shape there and moving right along. Any questions that I can answer about the building and facilities?
Just one, on. Some time ago now, we had voted to. What's the right word? Anyway, dedicate, I guess, like the EOC area to Randy Greeley. And I was just wondering if DEM has, I think they were going to work on some wording for a plaque or something.
I talked to John there about a few weeks, so there is in their EOC room, it's kind of an L shaped, they can partition off, there's a training room, EOC can be one big room, and they do have a bank of the ham radio guys do in there, in kind of in the corner of the room there, and we talked about doing something in that area, adjacent to the ham folks.
Just want to make sure we didn't forget that piece is the whole building thing has gone on and on, seems like forever, but we did that early on in the process. And
I recognize that was. Well, let's have a conversation offline.
That's fine. I just wanted to keep the memory alive here, so.
Very good. Anything else for the building? Any other questions?
I think we discussed before that as we get to the point of opening, you're gonna do some public events, some maybe multiple days of an open house for different groups.
Correct. Right now, the intention is to have one day for our staff and their families. And then a separate day for user agencies and their families to come in and see the building. Just prior to go live. And then a week or 2 after we've gone live and we've been there for a little bit, maybe 3 weeks, we don't know yet. We'll have a public open house to allow the community to come in and see what they've provided for us, and we'll show some appreciation to the community. And there will be more on that as we get closer.
Great stuff for the social media site.
Right, true, very true. Okay, other things under miscellaneous, we talked about the user fee form of the committee already. Next month's meeting is currently, as you know, we meet on the 3rd Wednesday. Next month is the 17th. Three of us and probably a dispatcher, so Bree and Deanna and myself will be at state meetings that week. And not available for a board meeting. So I don't know what historically the board has done or what you would like to do. I would ask for your consideration that we either have the board meeting a week prior or come up with another solution.
Do we skip a month? Would there be any harm in that?
That I didn't want to be the first to say it, but yeah. I mean. We could still get the bills paid as we currently do and then approve them like we currently do and everything else. So I don't foresee a problem with that. That's the board's decision at your discretion. How we would like to handle that, I would just ask for your consideration that we make some adjustment. Because half of my staff will be out of town for state required meetings.
It'd have to be the week before, sure, because the week after is our gig.
Lost it
Yeah.
the week before. I'm gonna be gone, but you can have a meeting without me.
And the week after, we also have Rachel out of town for a training.
If there's no substantial business that for next month, I mean,
If we had to get put together even a Zoom meeting, there's necessity that.
Yeah, if we find in the second week of next month that the week prior, that there's something that we do need to bring to the board, we could call for a special meeting, advertise and hold a meeting. And get the business done if necessary.
I guess if we need a motion, I would move that due to conflicts and things that we cancel next month's meeting unless there is something critical
Emergent need.
and then we can have a special meeting. Via Zoom or whatever.
You do have a motion. Attorney, a second.
I'll second that.
We have a motion. Ruth Kendall is a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I also would aye. That motion carries. So we will not meet again until June. Unless there's a need before then.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I appreciate that consideration. The last thing that I have for you, no, not the last thing. House Bill 1055, if you are familiar with it or have been tracking it, it's now gone through the House and through the Senate and state. And is to the governor for signing, and what that essentially does is allows public safety dispatchers to be part of PSERS instead of PERS. So the regular public employee retirement system, they will effective June 1 of 2024, new hires will be in the public safety employment retirement system. And these are the groups that are not left and not those, but in with, for example, corrections and DNR and things like those. Puts them in a different retirement classification. In the first quarter of 2024, the newer dispatchers with fewer years, or some even with more years, they'll have the years, not years. We'll have the option to go from PERS 2 and 3 into PSERS. But again, this is more of a future forward-looking plan for dispatchers. Might not be overly exciting for those that have been in PERS 2 and 3 for a number of years, as those years don't count equally or the same, and you can't bring some years with you anyway. There's a lot of stipulations around it, as you can imagine. But it is an exciting step forward for dispatchers, having been recognized last year by the legislature as first responders. Now, the extra work is going on to take advantage of that designation and recognize that the job they do is a difficult, traumatic job, and to expect them to do it for 30 and 35 years is just really not reasonable. So gives us a better shot at a better retirement system. So that's exciting. And we're excited to move through that process. And then I'll look to Deanna for radio update. Anything for us?
We had some issues this last couple days on county. They sent a crew out late last night to replace or swap out a GTR, which is a transmitter receiver. It's a repeater. That has been switched out. They went up today to do some additional work. I don't have an update yet. As far as I know, they're still out there. Rachel and I have been working on the grant. Deadline on that's the 25th. We've had some issues with Abernathy and Davis microwaves due to weather, due to that they're old and need to be replaced. As soon as it stops snowing up at Abernathy, we'll be able to replace that microwave. We have the microwave sitting in the basement here, and the Davis one will have to wait until we actually get the grant money and start ordering that equipment. Our tech group, this month, we canceled the meeting because Don was in Spillman training all week, and he's a pretty critical piece of those conversations that we have in that. The ops meetings for the technical group, those have been, I've been canceled on each month until we can get this funding formula thing squared away, and until the tech group has something to present to that ops group. And that's it.
I will add, not radio, thank you for that, yeah. Many of your agencies had folks back in Orlando last week for the Motorola conference. Jerry and Don were able to attend that as well. And I think we gained a lot with the relationships with Motorola. As many of you know, we last month were finally successful in getting Motorola people, not just support folks, but the right engineer folks here on site. We've had them out here a couple of times and made good progress in that regard. So grateful that Jerry and Don were able to attend and be there for that last week. Hopefully your folks had a good experience and were able to bring things back for your agencies as well. And that's all I have, Sheriff. Unless there are any other questions for us.
Go ahead, Sammy.
Sorry, this is Sam. I had a quick question about the new pension. If it all goes through, it sounds like it's an enhanced benefit, which is great. Will there be an increased contribution from the county if it all goes through?
I don't know that it affects the county. It would affect the 911 center, and I haven't heard of a change in the contribution amount. I don't have an answer for that yet. I haven't seen any drafts or ideas around the dollar amounts or percentages.
Each
floated out
retirement
there.
system has its own separate employer contribution.
Yeah, so I don't know what it will bring for us.
Thank you.
I was just gonna add in the conversation with John that Patriot Construction actually will be here on site and gonna be here all next week. Is that currently the plan?
As we understand it, yes. The Vice President of Operations, Rick Winsek, reported to you, he resigned from Patriot. They have contracted with him and brought him back a couple of days a week because he's most familiar with this project. He and the owner, John Gilmore, are flying in Thursday night. They'll be in the meeting Friday, which if you, Sheriff, can make it, that'd be great. 9:30 Friday morning. But yes, we've heard that the owner, John Gilmore, will be on site throughout next week as well. The project manager that we've had for a year now, Andy Hansen, is on vacation. And we all think it's a bad time for him to be on vacation, and it is, but again, this project has gone way longer than we anticipated. It was a vacation that he had planned with his family to be back east for a couple of weeks, long before we thought we'd be in this position. So they did bring David Pacheco back, who's been helping out. He's been on site for the last couple of weeks and will continue to be on site until Andy returns at least. But the reality is, if we get this certificate of substantial completion wrapped up tomorrow or Friday, and we get it dated on the 17th, that puts final completion at May 17th.
Any questions for John on anything further? Alrighty, we will move along. Thank you, John. Thank you. Any old business? Hearing none, we have an executive session, and I think I would probably do that in about 10 minutes. I'm guessing. And the reason that we're going to do it is performance of a public employee. And do you have some legal wording you'd like to add, Frank, to make it legit?
I mean, the only thing is it's a confidential session, but watching the word.
Okay.
Unless someone has a question.
All right, and Rachel has created a room here. So for those of you that joined us online, the board is going into executive session now, and I will
guys are still on mute or when you come back into session.
Okay, you're back, Sheriff.
Okay, we're back and live. We took no action in the executive session, but John Diamond's been with us since April 11th of 2022. His first year anniversary occurred April 11th of this year, and as such, due to his contract, he was due for a pay increase. With the board was satisfied with his performance, and at this point, I'd open up to the floor for a motion concerning his contract, and if we want to recognize the service by giving him his pay increase along with the satisfactory performance evaluation. I don't know if I said that right, but
So moved.
okay. Have Alan Headley has moved that we approve the contractual increase in pay.
Hamilton second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Wait, hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Right?
And then second was from Andy Hamilton.
Andy Hamilton. Okay, anyone opposed? Also vote aye, and that motion carries. So congratulations, John.
Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate that. I appreciate your confidence, and I'll continue to learn and grow and do my best to serve the agency well. Thank you.
Other than that, is there anything for the good of the order? Hearing none, I guess we'll be in adjournment until our June meeting.
June meeting.
All right. Thank you.
That will be, sorry, let me just throw out a date for you. I apologize. The third Wednesday of June will be the 21st.
Okay, and at the location of meeting.
The way this came up that we won't be here next week or next month is that I wanted to have May's meeting in the new building. So that's June, we'll have in the new building.
Cool. All right. Sounds good.
Thank you all.
Your flashlight's on now.
Thank you.
Thank you.